Welcome, busy gamers! This time we're going to be talking about Watcher of Realms, and in this video I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to go over each and every system and activity within this game in order to help you on your potential journey with it. It's a big game with a lot of systems and a lot of things to do, and I think having that clarity early on about what the systems are, how they work, and what might interest you will really help in deciding whether you want to pick this up. Now, Watcher of Realms is a idle tower defense game that was recommended to me recently by a viewer, and it honestly happened to hit the perfect timing in which I needed something that could be played on mobile and squeezed into rare free moments within my day. This particular game is going to fall along the lines of games like Raid Shadow Legends and Arknights. So if those are games that you've heard of before and games that might interest you, this game may be worth a look. Without further ado, let's go ahead and head into the campaign. The campaign is going to be where you spend the majority of your early time within the game. There are 3 difficulty levels of the campaign: normal, hard, and expert. Each of these has a finite amount of gems that you can gain, and for those gems you're going to be achieving additional rewards at the top here. There are a lot of mechanics within this, and it's going to introduce mechanics as you go. In addition, there are a lot of breakpoints that you're going to want to hit. So for example, you can see that I've cleared through chapter 7, and there is an experience stage here. This particular experience stage is relatively easy to clear in itself and is one of the easiest way to farm up levels for your heroes. Once you've hopped into a campaign level, you're going to look at your hero loadout here. You're going to be able to bring in up to 10 heroes within this. You can bring a mix of different types of heroes. You'll see shields for defensive heroes, bows and arrows for marksman heroes, these hands for healers, these wands for mages, for example. You'll then be starting each individual area, and it will play out with you placing your heroes strategically. And when you first hop into here, you're going to see different little challenges. So for this particular one, there are tentacles out that will strike you, and you will need to knock them down early on. Now that I've done that, it can't attack me anymore. I need to get my defenders out here, ensure that I have something in the way so that these cannot attack my crystals. In addition, you see that there are those little, basically hidden enemies, the ones that are shrouded in mist. You won't be able to attack them at all unless you have a defender placed in the way. Those defenders will reveal them as soon as they attack that area. And pretty soon I'm going to have somebody attack over here, so I need to get somebody in place there as well. You see that battles run with a resource over here. This particular resource builds up over time, and you can then deploy with it. There's also a deployment cap, so you see that I can now no longer deploy any additional characters. Now this is the part where I'm completely set up and there's not a lot for me to do except react. These buttons down here will allow me to trigger the special abilities of my characters. I am quite a bit over leveled for this, and so there is not a lot that you should need to see me do here. I can go ahead and trigger some of these things. It's great, it's good fun, it adds to it, but I do not need to do so. This particular character may die on me. I've got a mage that's coming after me and is hidden, so it's definitely possible that that will occur. Since it has, I will just summon another mage out here, and we will be still good to go. No real danger, I don't believe, here. And we have 1 hour battle. That is what most of the campaign type battles will look like. The first time you beat a campaign battle, you'll get an additional reward. You'll get your standard reward for the number of stars you get. And then you see overflow here. This particular overflow is just indicating that some of my heroes were at max level at the time. Extra here, this is part of a $5 per month subscription. I chose to test it out for this video. Alright, the next thing we want to talk about today is the tide. So the tide is up here, and it has a couple of different things. The tide is basically something where you're going to just withstand wave after wave after wave of enemy. You'll get rewards for defeating each wave the first time, and then every day you'll be able to claim a set amount of rewards based on the highest wave that you've completed in the past. You can only do 3 waves per day, so even if you are always clearing them, you'll only move up 3 waves each day. Now, that being said, each time you collect, you'll get talent points, and these talent points can be spent to make your heroes better. I do find this tech tree to be a little bit interesting, though unfortunately you can tell that I'm basically just building it from the top down, which does mean there's a little bit less of a decision-making process. That being said, there are some pretty interesting things here. You'll get an arcane defender, so basically I can conjure a mage that does AoE damage. In general, though, it's hard to understand until we've seen it, so let's go ahead and go into a wave so I can show you what actually occurs for the tide. So, you have deployed all of your units down here like this. I have unlocked an additional deployed unit, so I can bring this guy out here as a defender. I have over 600,000 power here, so I should defeat this easily, but you'll see that my mages and archers are up on the high zone, and then my melee defenders are down here in the low area. When we're ready, you just click fight, you confirm the assault, and then the rampage comes after you. All these monsters will come in from the right hand of the screen, and they will attack you. These two things that are counting down in the middle of my screen here are a Ardent Defender and the Strafing Mage that it talked about earlier. But basically these guys are just going to try and breach my gate as I cast and fling spells at them. This is a relatively passive thing to do. I will admit that up front, but I do find it to be an interesting piece of content. That being said, you are kind of just having them come at you. Once you've placed your heroes, you do very little to really kind of address them. I'm going to show you what that Strafing Mage looks like as well here. So that summons a mage in the background, and they're then just going to cast Fury out over the battlefield. We were able to succeed with that fairly quickly, fairly easily, and we have cleared the wave. Okay, so we have now completed our 3 waves for the day. We're going to go over here and we're going to claim our loot. You see that this is loading loot for every single level that we've done so far, and that's going to give us a rolled up reward here. We're going to get skill dust for rare, stamina, gold, epic skill dust, and talent points. The talent points being, again, how we're going to come in here and improve our overall strength at that activity. For example, we can add Healer's Rage Regeneration here so they can do their big heals more often. That's now costing me 90 talent points to go to max level. We're going to go ahead and just do that. That is a good thing, and I, again, have been building top to bottom. You can reset this at any time, though, and you can kind of go at it in a different method, but it doesn't honestly lead for a lot of creativity. All right, let's go into the idle rewards really quickly. This one's going to be pretty self-explanatory. All this time that I'm sitting here doing nothing, or that I'm sitting here and talking, the idle rewards are counting up. As you can see, it says I have played this game for 25 minutes today, and it has unlocked some awards for me. The first one's always a little bit of money. The second one is a little bit of your hero resources, the low quality heroes. We're then going to have insignias here. We're going to have about 180 energy, which is really good. And these arena permits, they give you just 2 additional arena fights. That has not been that beneficial to me, but it is worth noting. Let's go ahead and look at the Dwarven Association, or the shop page here. Let's click on the Dwarven Association. The first thing you're going to see is the black market. The black market will start out locked for you, so you won't be able to see all of this, but I'm going to go ahead and give you some very quick tips here. Overall, what you should be doing early on is buying the purple equipment. Purple equipment is going to be above average for what you can get at that time, so this would be like the epic equipment. Leave the blue or the rare equipment alone. The other things you will care about is, to an extent, you will probably want to go ahead and buy these low tier heroes. You're not going to use them, but you are going to use them in order to feed them to other heroes, or basically you're going to destroy them to make other heroes stronger. You'll also want to pick up things like this huge stamina potion here. And again, I have all of this unlocked. That's one of the first things I suggest you using your diamonds and your gold for, is just to open up the entire shop. You're also going to be able to refresh this. I recommend that you refresh it as many times as you can until it starts costing diamonds as a resource instead of something else. So as you see, I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to buy this purple equipment. I'm going to buy the stamina when I see it. And for today, I've stocked back up on these heroes. And so I don't know that I really need many of them here. We'll refresh. We're still on a free refresh, as you see. So this is our third time to do that. We'll keep going. We will still get some discounts here. The discounts are actually quite nice. You see that it now costs me 500 gold to refresh. So we'll buy 1 or 2 other pieces of equipment. We'll be at 500 gold for one more refresh here. And now we will be at 1,000. There's nothing I cared about from that, and so we're going to keep moving on. There are 1 or 2 other things that will appear. So legendary extracts and things of that nature I also recommend you buy. I will go over that in a guide later on. You're going to see your guild shop here as well. A rare summoning comes up once per week here. In the arena, these rare summoning comes up 3 times per week. And then you'll have a huge stamina potion that you can purchase every day. I recommend that you save for these summoning crystals and the huge stamina potions. Then after that really depends on what you need. If you'd want epic skill dust, epic skill crystals, or legendary artifacts, go for that. And then we have the awakening shop. This comes from feeding some of your other heroes or selling some of your other heroes. I haven't really been doing this yet, so it's not something I really have. It does show you the button where it says go dismiss. We're not going to do an example of that today. Alright, now let's hop into the arena. Okay, so we have our arena. We have our current challenge going on, so there's always a current challenge. Now, at this stage, I have about another 4 hours left of an AoE DPS challenge. Then, each week that is going to cycle to something else. So for last week, it was a single target marksman challenge. It can be a defensive challenge. Each time that means the mobs that spawn, the effects in the arena that spawn are going to be a little bit different. You can see your older results, and so I have been defeated a lot recently. You'll see my defense team, what looks like for our anti-air DPS and our AoE DPS. You'll see your ranking, so I sit in gold 1 as it is today. Every week you'll also get a payout based on what rank you're at. You see your overall ranking. So I'm new, I've only been playing 2 weeks, I'm sitting way down here, and this is not something that I'm going to be playing for. Then you also see the hero ranking. So if you want to see how your heroes are doing for each individual thing, AoE DPS for example, it'll show you what hero is deployed the most. This can be very beneficial for you. I think this is something that can be recommended, and they will be lit up if you have the hero. Let's go ahead and show you how a fight works though. You'll have a max of 5 fights at any given time, unless I were to, example, gain something from a in-game reward. I could go above this, but I won't generate above this. But let's go into a fight, because I do believe these are one of the more interesting pieces of content. Instead of fight directly head-to-head like many games of this style, you're still doing a tower defense type exercise. So for example, as everybody comes out here, something will be attacking their tower, something will be attacking my tower, and whoever defends the best will win the battle. So since this is AoE DPS, I've got Nyx out there. I'm getting her to do some work and start DPSing these creatures down. Notice that the way arenas actually work are going to be who does the most damage or who prevents the most damage to this tower. So for example, even if I had killed all of my enemies first, but he had somebody here defending his tower, I could still potentially lose that fight. Again, it's all based on how much damage is done to the tower. I'm currently just choosing a strategy of reducing the damage done to my tower by killing things instead of actually doing anything else about it by defending. It's a different tactic, doesn't make it right or wrong. Any enemies that are still there, so the round was tied because we both had the same amount of damage done to our tower, even though I am the one who destroyed the enemies first. So now I have a slower out there that's going to reduce just a little bit that damage to my tower, but it also is going to make it slightly harder for me to do my AoE. But we are going to go ahead and trigger the specials of each of my characters now as well, which should push me ahead at the end here and go ahead and win it for us. And we have won. You'll see that it will now damage the tower. We would continue on and on and on until somebody's tower wins. Alright, well, it's a gacha game, so we've got to head to the summoning area. This is where you're going to be summoning your heroes. Every weekend they typically have a double the chance rate for legendary heroes, and so I do recommend that you save all of your summoning for the weekend process. There's a normal, and this particular one does have a 10 times rate up to get the new heroes that have just come out. That being said, having double the chance to get a legendary versus 10 times the chance to get one of these heroes is what I would choose, because the way it works is you still have just the exact same chance to get a rare or a mythic or legendary hero. It's just that when you get one of these accelerated 4-star or 5-star heroes, they have a 10 times greater chance of being one of these 5. So especially if you don't have a lot of this type of hero, you want to stay with what gets you the most. Here, let's show you the overall chances for everything. And so you actually see that if they're leader heroes, you have less than a 0.1% chance of getting one. Then legendaries, overall, the 5-star heroes, you have approximately a 1-star chance. This is including the ×2 chance, and so you have less than a 1% chance as a general rule of getting one. I actually find this rate to be quite poor, and I do find it to be disappointing. I think it's probably one of the worst things about the game today. Even if you were to come to the divine summoning here, you only have about a 10% chance of getting a legendary at a double rate up on the higher value summoning crystals. So let's move on. You have hero fusions. These are pretty interesting. They allow you to use the low level heroes you get throughout the game to build some of the meta heroes or heroes that get used a lot. So these are all blue heroes. They're very easy to get. You're going to see them over and over and over again. This is actually even more common heroes. These are both green. You can level those up and fuse them together to get these rarer 4-star heroes. We also have the Shard Summon, and this is really what I was talking about when I said that focusing and getting that monthly influx of about 40 rare summons is going to help, because some of the events require you to do those summons, and so you can see how you get shards to then summon her. It's basically participating in these events and doing your best in them. So for example, Brave Conquest. Brave Conquest is just fetching gears and artifacts. So you'll participate in Gear Raid and Artifact Material Raid for prizes. You'll get that as soon as you've unlocked it, and the event is starting soon. Let's look at one that I have already started though. So right now this is just a leveling event, so the more you level, the more rewards you get. And you see that after you hit certain thresholds, you're going to be able to get more of the shards to summon this particular hero. I'm only 5 away, so I do intend on getting it this month, and I think this is something that you should really plan your gaming around in this particular game. I'll be doing some guides on that in the future, so if you're interested in that, let me know. Alright, really quickly, let's talk about the hero page now, and then we'll hit some miscellaneous things. The hero page will be where you spend a lot of your time improving your heroes, looking at them, seeing what you think about them. So you'll have my legendaries here at the top. They're the ones I've put the most leveling time into. Really like Calypso. I think she looks great. This particular demon is not really for me aesthetically. However, he is quite powerful. I do think the Salazar looks great. So you can get looking at them, you can watch their intro videos, you can see statistics and hero guides as far as how well people rate them in each area of content, which is pretty useful. Do you think they're useful? Do you think they're not useful? That kind of thing. You also can upgrade them here. So your attributes, upgrading is leveling them. So if I wanted him to go from 39 to 40, for example, I would level him up. You also have the quick star up feature. This is how you feed heroes to other heroes and improve them in that manner. I actually think this is implemented very well in this particular game. It shows what hero you're improving, what material it consumes, and then the result at the end of the day. So I put this to max level, and now it says it will eat another hero to make this a 2-star hero. That cost me an additional 500 gold. This is just really easy to do. It takes virtually no time, and it tells you how many you can do that with. So from 2 stars to 3 stars, I can take 37 heroes. From 3 stars to 4 stars, I can only take 5. So to level it up, 35,000. You then see it kills 2 3-star heroes and 1 3-star material. That costs 5,000, but now I have another 4-star hero if I were to do that. It also warns you if you would use a hero that it can be fused into something else. Again, those warnings, that level of convenience is just nice.
Ready or not?
Back here, we can promote. The promotion is where you are using those promotion abilities from the raids we saw earlier, as well as extracts that you can buy in the stores. You can upgrade your skills as well. Those skills do happen as random upgrades, you see. So, for example, if I wanted to improve his skills, it would do so at random. I will show you how that works here. Just kind of spins the wheel and it will land on one. That happened to land on his ultimate here. So the meteor shower damage is now plus 10 and the skill cost goes down, meaning he'll do it more often. Alright, now we'll go to Awakening. So Awakening would be what happened if you had a duplicate of one of these heroes, and it is marked here by this one icon. So this hero has been awakened once. I've gotten 2 of this epic Vortex hero. The Awakening typically gives you additional benefits. So when Vortex is on the battlefield, every 25 seconds it gives you a shield, 20% of the target's health to a random ally. That's a pretty big deal as you move on down. It's typically just attributes, increasing the healing multiplier, etc. The first ones do tend to matter quite a bit though. So for example, if we were to look at Nyx, her first awakening adds 5 seconds to her main skill. This does mean that equal to 60% of her attack just sits there and spins for 20 seconds. Sitting there and spinning for 25 seconds is a lot of additional damage. You can also address their gear here. So each of them will have 5 slots of gear, 3 accessory slots, and 2 main slots. The 2 main slots will have a set bonus to them, as the 3 equipment or the 3 accessory slots will also have a set bonus to them if you were to do 3 of the same pieces or 2 of the same set pieces. I do typically recommend that. That is going to be an additional benefit, that it's going to be very difficult for the base stats to be worth not doing so. Here you can also see what gear you would be able to replace and easily sell or bulk sell this gear. So for example, if I wanted to compare, I would click on that. It now shows me the 2 gears side by side. You can enhance gear from this area as well very easily. Enhance, and you can even auto enhance to the breakpoints. And when I say breakpoints, this just means that it will add additional stats. This particular ring has a base stat of health, but when we get here, it will add to the attack bonus as a percentile here. And this is also somewhat random. So you see these little bars here, it could be all the way out here, and that would be a perfect roll on that particular additional stat. You have your guild. Your guild can be a variety of things. I joined one so that we can work on that for this video. You look at your membership, you can see how active you are and what your battle power is compared to others. You have guild quests, so telling you what to do on a daily basis as well. General sign-in and activity is primarily what it's looking for, but primarily what you are looking for with a guild is to fight the guild boss. The guild boss is this crazy red dragon here, and you have rewards that you get every day if you rank a certain level. So for example, off to the side it shows if you only do 50 damage, 100 damage, 240, or 420, you'll have different possible rewards. If your guild kills the boss, in addition to you getting up here, you'll get 2 chests instead of 1. You can fight the guild boss twice a day unless you want to pay gems to fight it more often. I do not recommend that, but fighting it at least twice a day is worth doing. Once you've fought it once, it records your auto fight, and so you can then press auto fight and it will do everything you did the last time. And it will do it at that greater speed if you have that unlocked. So we'll run through a little bit about what that looks like here. this is the dragon's blood that I'm generating off to the side here. So I'm at 30 dragon's blood so far, and it will also record when and how I use my special abilities. So I used all of my special abilities when he was planning to perform his major attack. You'll see this crystalline thing appear around the health bar, and if you don't break it, he's going to do massive damage to all of your characters, usually wiping you out. If you do break it, you basically get this period of free damage in which you're going to be able to do a lot to him, and he will just sit here stunned. That is one of the major tactics that you're going to need to employ to get the highest level rewards on everything. Now, I'm still only on the hard dragon boss after 2 weeks, so it is not as if you will advance to this too quickly, but it is something to work forward to. Alright, final miscellaneous things that we've got going on here. You will see that you have the storyline. The storyline is just something I recommend you follow when you can. There will be a main quest here. It is always a really good goal. If you don't have anything else to do during the day, you should be working towards this. If you can't do this today, do something that improves your character so that you can do so, or try to look up how this might work. It says fighters and range DPS will be needed here, and so that's something you'd be focusing on. Alright, we'll have our gallery tab as well. Our gallery tab just shows how many of the total heroes I own. Has a nice little gallery. You can click into them and look at information, what their attack pattern is, what their overall stats are, and how many people they block, what they cost to field onto the arena, and what they would do when they are awakened. This is all pretty useful, and if you go into each individual faction, you can also see that as you collect more of a faction, you get bonuses to everybody in that faction as they're deployed. These bonuses are pretty minor, but free stats are free stats. You'll have quests. You have daily quests that give you 30 gems overall every day if you were to do all of them, as well as some decent miscellaneous rewards, though they're pretty minor. The weekly rewards do get better with a summoning crystal in there, and the monthly, if you do so, you will get an ancient summoning crystal that has the energy of lords, which are much rarer. They have challenge quests as well. These are things you're going to complete over time. Not a problem, not something you should really focus on or stress about. You'll then have a few additional tabs here. You'll have the events up here. The event calendar is quite useful. That shows what events are going to be going on at what time, allowing you to prepare ahead of time for things you're going to want to do. And many of these things are going to be how you're summoning those piecemeal heroes or those shard-based heroes. I believe they're going to do those about once a month, and those events will be running throughout the month. That being said, if you don't plan ahead, you can end up in a situation where you have 70 of 75 shards and no way to get others. So use the calendar to your advantage, and in the future, again, I will have a guide around that. You also have your trials here. Your trials are typically internal competitions, and so for example, for Lost Legacy, I am ranked 2nd. These are done randomly. You're placed in some form of group around your level, and then you have trophies based on the goal here. So participating in Gear Raid 1, each time I do so, it gives me some trophies, and as I go up here, I get better rewards, as well as some individual rewards just based on total participation. Okay, so that has been my video on Watcher of Realms. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope this has helped peel back the curtain and explain a little bit about the game. This is going to be a 3-part series for me, so throughout this week you're going to see a review and then a tips and tricks guide. What did I learn as I started, and what do I recommend for you if you so choose to play this game? Other than that, it's been great talking with you tonight, and have a great time gaming.